Hey, what's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome to MXGP Pro. It is time to dive into this game. I am so excited. I've only had the tutorial version so far and now I'm going into the full career mode. And what I've noticed is that there's a difference between a standard career and an extreme career. So we're going to jump into career mode and we're taking a first look at this game going full bore. So in this mode you'll be able to carry on. So you can choose standard career, extreme career, okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, so there's all that business. And, well, I did have the Honda selected, but maybe I'll change it up for the beginning of this video here. They have the old Suzuki model, and then you can choose the 125s that are available too, which is the Husky. They have actually a KX 125 in this game too, which is wild. KTM 125, the TM 125, and the Yamaha 125. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with the 250F. And I think I'll just stick with the Honda that I was on. Or, yeah, I'll stick with the Honda I was on. Why not? Alright, so when you choose a main sponsor, you'll be assigned a specific long-term objective. Okay, cool beans. So you start off with basically all of these, I guess. Get to choose which ones I want. Kind of cool. Different liveries. Or do I... Oh no, actually, sorry. The ones that are in red I cannot choose, I guess. So I have to start with these top ones. I think. Yeah, I can't pick that. So let's start off with this one. This one looks interesting. I started with the beer sponsorship last time. You'll be assigned specific short-term objectives. Alright, that I already knew. So it looks like you can kind of customize all this stuff, but I don't have any money. Or, oh no. It did let me pick some of this different stuff that's available. That's kind of cool. So it already gives you like certain equipment to choose from. You don't have to just start out flat out with nothing. I could even choose different colored grips. It's basically limited me to a couple brands though right now. Handguards. Yeah, why not? We'll run some handguards. Those are orange though. What am I doing? The red ones. Go back. Exhaust. Yeah, it gives me a couple exhaust options too. That's really cool. Yeah, I could really go all out with the upgrades on the bike from the beginning too. And it puts the sponsors on the bike. That's kind of interesting too. So you see the I just chose Mitas wheels and Yoshimura exhaust, and it puts the you know, the sponsored logo on the bike. That is really cool. That's a new addition to this game too that I did not expect to see. Go with some red rims just to make it look a little fancier. Oh, I'm not quite able to get race tech yet, so let's go with this MX Tech suspension. That looks different. Rock that. Brake discs. Only have Galfer. You can actually get the super upgraded version though. And rear sprocket. MX works. Get a red rear sprocket. Make this thing all redded out. And that's a pretty fancy looking machine right there, I must say. Alright, fame is a value which represents how popular you will be over your career. The fame value will enable you to earn access higher level sponsors. Cool. Game tips, you have a team manager. So he basically just kind of talks you through a bunch of stuff. And all this stuff is going to be non-customizable yet, I think, because I don't have... Yeah, I have to purchase all this stuff, so we'll leave all that the same. Go back and just go to the race. So what are we doing first? Looks like we're going right into Qatar. So we must be in the MX2 class, starting out at Qatar at the beginning of the MX2 Championship.
This is the first race of the FIM Motocross World Championship for the MX2 category. We expect a season full of adrenaline and surprises. We are in Qatar at the Lusail The first laps of the qualifying sessions have just started.
Alright, so qualifying, and we're going to go out and try this out. This is, I believe it's on Pro Physics. Let me actually double check that. I can't check that right here. Oh no, you know what? It is on Pro Physics because we're in the extreme career mode, so it has to be full bore. So the track is very tight, much tighter than previous versions of the track. You can feel the bike moving around a lot more. I'm going to try to do the best I can to sort of compare this to MXGP 3 because I feel like they built this physics engine a little bit off of Monster Energy Supercross the game, but obviously the last MXGP game we have to go off of is MXGP 3. So far, man oh man, it's actually pretty tough to corner, get this thing stopped. Like, you have to think ahead a little bit more than you do in the other games, which is a little bit more wide open. Rear end likes to slide around a lot, which feels a little bit too street bike-ish. But I wonder if maybe once the ruts kind of develop and you can put it down into the ruts, if it'll be a little bit easier. Definitely have to use your weight to get the bike to move around, and the whips are a little bit freer in this game. You still pretty much have just the scrubs available to you, so that's not much of a change there. But I have noticed through the tutorial mode of this game so far that you can kind of affect the trajectory of your whips a little bit more. You can get really upside down, obviously, and then you can also crash a lot easier by like doing that, which is what I kind of faced into that jump. If you OJ something, you can also crash pretty easily. Let's go through the camera options. Figured it's going to be pretty similar to Monster Energy Supercross the game since it's the same developer. Yeah, so they have this onboard camera thing, the right behind camera, the way behind camera. Definitely feels a lot less floaty than MXGP 3, and it feels like it's actually less floaty than Monster Energy Supercross game. Like, you kind of stick to the ground a little bit more. In the corners, not so much, but off the jumps, you get pulled towards the ground a lot quicker. And then you slide through corners a lot more. That's definitely noticeable. Like I said, you really do have to think ahead, though, on the track of like where you are and to not go too deep into the corners, because it's really easy to just overrun a corner. The brakes still have a lot of power, and it probably has something a little bit to do with the fact that I fully upgraded the bike, but still, just from what I can tell so far, the brakes do have quite a bit of power to them. I was hoping there'd be a big enough jump on this track that I could show off those whips, but so far I've only had like 2 opportunities and I've been off the track both times. Still very kind of staged in the air, though. You can, once you're off the ground and you haven't, excuse me, initiated a scrub, you can kind of just move the bike in any direction you want. See, so that's kind of the start of a scrub, I guess. Not the most realistic looking thing, but I also didn't do it very well. A lot of this is a learning process for me, so bear with me, folks. I know that this probably doesn't look that great. Part of that is because I'm not playing it very well, and through the career mode and through some of the videos I plan to do on the channel, I will work on getting better. You do have to actually fully bring the whips back now, too, is something I noticed. You don't just kind of let it come back. You have to move it back to complete center, or else you're going to crash for sure. I don't want to spend too much time here in qualifying, so let's go ahead and return to pit sessions. And we'll move to the qualifying race. So qualified 10th out of this one, which is going to probably put me 10th gate pick. And because I retired, apparently gave me a negative score, so that's no good. So tip for you fans out there, do not retire. Go full out.
Riders are getting ready on the starting grid as the qualifying race is about to begin.
All right, so qualifying race, start next to Thomas Covington and Thomas Kier Olsen. I hope I'm in gear. And I was, and I got a terrible jump, and then the bike just got dragged down all the way down the straightaway. But pretty good line in this first corner because everybody drifted so wide, so not going to come out too bad. A little bit of contact here. Hunter Lawrence Samuele Bernardini. AI is definitely challenging. They're not afraid to mix it up with you in here. This is based off of the 2017 MXGP series as well, so you'll see some guys that have moved up to the 450 class this year still in this class, like saw Jeremy Seawer on the ground back there. I also moved around Brian Bogers a couple turns ago. And those guys are both in the MXGP class this year as rookies, but they're in the MX2 class in this game because they were still in this class back in 2017. Wish you could actually double that section like they do in real life. There we go, carrying some speed around the outside here. So this is only my second race in the game. It's on, you know, like the extreme difficulty. And these guys are challenging, no question, but I figured second race into the game, they might be a little bit tougher than they are. Go back in close here. Definitely fun though, they're not that easy to deal with. I'm noticing that I'm kind of seat bouncing some of these jumps, which is leaning back and then pushing forward on the takeoff. And that's to be able to actually clear the jump, because some of the jumps I'm getting kind of just low lined off of them, not getting enough air. So I'm having to use my body weight a lot more. I'm trying to use the outside weight of the foot peg to keep it from sliding out, which that didn't help there, but trying to get back going, and these guys are just all over the place back here. So somebody who's from Belgium that maybe watches these videos, could you tell me how to pronounce Bas Vassen's name? I'm assuming that's it, but I could be way wrong. The guy that I just passed, I think he's Belgian, right? Damn it. Yeah, I just got passed by like 17 guys here. Alright, gotta get the focus on here, because I'm getting my doors blown off a little bit. I like the feel of it so far, I will say. It's an interesting feel, it's different. It's definitely not just trying to use games that I can compare it to. It does feel closer to Monster Energy Supercross than it does to MXGP 3 in terms of physics and feel, but it's completely different. It's still not like exactly the same as Monster Energy Supercross. In a lot of areas, the feel is definitely got a uniqueness to it. You really have to kind of focus on hitting your marks in corners and stuff like that, and avoiding just really tough banners apparently on the side of the track. So I just went from 6th back to dead last, so I gotta really get going here. Oh my goodness, Julian Lieber just pushed me onto the deck. Come on, what's going on here? This qualifying race is going terrible. Holy crap, this qualifying race is super long too. Oh my god. It's a full bore thing. It's the full 20-minute qualifying race. So this first video is probably just going to be the qualifying race. And then I'll move into Moto 2 or I'm sorry, Moto 1 and Moto 2. Doing the extreme career, and it's going all out here apparently. That's exciting though, because it's realistic in the sense that it takes you through the whole practice session, qualifying session, and I just keep on crashing, which is not what I was wanting to do, but still. I really do like how when you customize your bike though, in those settings at the beginning, that it adds those sponsored decals, sponsored stickers to the bike, because that's something that it happens in real life. Like, people don't realize it, but you know, real life teams, riders, privateers, whatever, you know, let's say they get a sponsorship from like Vertex pistons, for example. It's very likely that even though you never see a Vertex piston, because obviously it's in the engine, they still run that company sponsors somewhere, either on their shroud, on their rear fender is usually a pretty likely spot for it, which you can very clearly see some sponsors on the rear fender of this bike. And I like that. I like that they added that dynamic to it, where if you know, pick up a component on your bike, it actually adds the you know, the company sticker to it to show off that that's something you have on your machine. So I really like that. That's something that, you know, it's small. It's not something that many people will think about, but it's a nice added touch so far. So I like that. So far, I'm actually really digging the physics. It's like I said, it's kind of tough to describe. It's still got a pretty floaty feeling to it in some spots, like you can kind of just run over ruts and everything, but definitely I'm noticing as the ruts are developing and there's some lines in the corners, if you get into them and kind of hit your marks with them, it feels pretty smooth. Like you can actually bank off of them and use them to your advantage. Oh, I'm going long on this chip again. Oh, landed nose heavy, but it worked. And like I said, if you're watching this video and you're wondering, you know, really what this game feels like and what it looks like, I'm just doing the best I can to kind of explain what I'm going through, and I am not going to be the best guy to ever play this game, so I'm not saying, you know, you can take my advice for everything, but I do feel like I'm good enough to kind of present this game well enough from the get-go, and going right into extreme difficulty and everything like that, I feel like kind of shows off that, you know, I know mostly what I'm talking about when it comes to playing these games. Just trying to get around Rubini here. Gonna try to go inside, force a move, made it happen. So you can kind of see on the takeoff of that jump that I was leaning back on the takeoff and then lurched forward. That's what I'm talking about when I'm seat bouncing. Most people that know motocross video games know what a seat bounce is, but if you're watching this and you really have no idea what I'm talking about, it's basically like getting back on the bike a little bit, but mostly compressing the suspension of the motorcycle, which is like sitting down, like pushing the bike into the face of a jump, and then standing up or leaning forward so that you lift the suspension off the ground as you take off, and it kind of thrusts you up into the air. Mostly it's referred to in video games as preloading, but I mean, you know, the technical term that is used in racing is called seat bouncing, so that's definitely something that works in this game so far from what I can tell, is actually, you know, leaning back and using it to your advantage. If you feel like you're going to come up short on a jump, you can seat bounce something, which I like, because it really wasn't helpful at all in MXGP 3. It was a little helpful in Monster Energy Supercross the game, but it was also kind of skewed because it was a Supercross game, so you could see things that it was more beneficial to lean back on, and so on and so forth. As I move Mr. Brian Sue out of the way here, and I got to go up to Davey Pooches. It's really interesting playing this game though, because playing Monster Energy Supercross for as long as I have since it's come out, I'm kind of gotten used to these physics being used in a game about American riders, an American series. So seeing the MXGP riders again is a bit of it's almost like refreshing, because it's going back to the roots of this game and this whole series and the Milestone crew and everything like that. So I'm sorry that you're pretty much only going to get a real good view of Qatar here, but just kicking off the campaign here. Battling with Brian Sue, getting around him. And then he got me right back, so I'm just struggle busting it right now, almost halfway through this race. This is a long qualifying race, so the motos are going to be even longer. It's going to be extra long. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out the game enough though to actually do some decent results in the motos, because right now the qualifying race is not going well. Doing okay, but definitely not as good as I figured I could have. I keep jumping off the track trying to scrub. Probably because I am a scrub. What up, ball? I feel like I'm getting the flow down a little bit though. You can see the track's deforming pretty well. It's definitely kind of developing like one big line through the whole track though, so that's not the greatest thing. And again, killing the suspension by jumping a little bit too far. Which is interesting, because I feel like I just talked about that in a video on this channel a couple days ago, where I was not liking it in, I think honestly it was in Monster Energy Supercross the game, how you could basically land to flat and nothing bad would happen. And lo and behold, pick up MXGP Pro and land to flat, or land on the face of a jump and you insta-crash. Alright, there's like 4 or 5 guys right in front of me here. I'm gonna go make some passes. Starting to hit my braking points a little bit better, starting to carry some speed in the corners a little bit better. Using some throttle control. Definitely have to use throttle control. You're starting to notice that those rear end slides I was having a lot at the beginning are kind of dying away. That's definitely because I'm kind of feathering the throttle through the corners a little bit more, just to kind of point out what I'm doing with my hands, so you can get a better idea about that as well. So let's get around Mr. Davey Pooches, go after Ben Watson, maybe Bass Vasson. Again, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It could be Vason, but I think it's Bass Vasson, or Boss would be how you pronounce his first name, B-A-S. So you can kind of just move these guys out of the way, which is a little bit of a bummer, but at least you can actually make contact with them. That was always my biggest pet peeve in MXGP 2, was that you pretty much could not make contact with these guys. They would just always put you down whenever you made contact. So yeah, just moving Baston out of the way there. Let's go get Ben Watson, who's had a really good year in MX2 this year, riding for the Kamea Yamaha team. He's 4th in the World Championship, having a really good season, as mentioned. I wish that the track would develop enough to maybe break down some of the lines, so you do have to start searching for some new lines. Ooh, that's a big crash. Just lost the rear end coming through the first corner, and I hope it doesn't lose me all those positions I was just trying to gain. So this is definitely not easy. I am not sugarcoating this. I know it's only my 2nd race, so you could, you know, go as far as saying, well, in a 2nd race on extreme difficulty, maybe it shouldn't be easy enough to get, you know, I guess technically into the points in the qualifying race, because points get paid through 20th position in an MX2 race, even though this is only the qualifying race. But still, I mean, this is challenging. Like, I would not expect someone who knows motocross as well as I do to struggle this difficult. Be back here battling for 13th. I don't think I'm going to get into the top 10. I might get 12th or 11th here. But I don't know, the field's pretty spread out. I wish it showed some nodes on the map so you could see kind of where everybody is in comparison, maybe the leaders and so on and so forth, but it doesn't show that, so not really too sure exactly where the leaders might be. But it definitely doesn't look like they're close. I mean, I'm in 13th. I can see some guys every now and again on the other side of the track, and it looks like they're pretty far gone. Did I just lose 4th gear? Oh, that was weird. It just like auto shifted to 5th gear. All right, let's go get Mr. Vsevolod Brylyakov. It's the Russian missile. Nah, Seva's a cool dude. Oh, trying to use his outside line, get down low in the rollers. To the inside in the next corner, and then rail that outside all the way out. That was a fun little line right there. Made it work, got around Brylyakov. Now who am I going after here? Michele Chervelin. So I might get into 11th here pretty quick. I still have 5.5 minutes to go in this qualifying race. I could end up about where I qualified, which is kind of funny. Qualified 10th, getting into this race. Ended up on the gate next to Mr. Thomas Covington and Thomas Kier Olsen of the Rockstar Husqvarna Europe team. Covington, for those USA fans, is coming stateside in 2019. He is going to be replacing the outgoing Zach Osborne in the 250 class for Rockstar Husqvarna. So he's going to be like that senior member of the team taking over, and they're going to have Jordan Bailey maybe keep Michael Mosiman. But Thomas Covington coming to the States 2019. All right, got Chervelin. Who's next here? Trying to lay it into that corner and just blew the corner out on the exit. I also just laid down my best lap of the race, 139.8. Losing the rear end in that first corner a little bit, don't want to do that. Catching up to Brian Bogers here. HSF Logistics KTM team, 2017. Now rides for factory Honda, right? Yeah, HRC Honda. Took Evgeny Babrashev's seat alongside Tim Geiser. Oh, whoa, what the heck? I just hit like an invisible wall, came to a dead stop. That was interesting. Allowed Chervelin back through, and it was also Brent Van Donik that was just getting up from a crash, and stupid wall. Come on. All that work to get up to 10th and then immediately blow it as soon as I got there. I was actually almost about to move into 9th and then suddenly back to the drawing board. 3.5 minutes left in this qualifying race, and I am trying my hardest here to get to these guys. Move out of the way, Brylyakov. I'm coming through. Go back and get Chervelin here. These guys are not able to clear this little double lap to the finish line, and it's where I'm making up quite a bit of time on him. Now Van Donik for 10th, and then maybe Bogers for 9th. So I will get into the top 10. I really didn't think I'd get here, but as long as I can keep it on 2 wheels, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, there we go. Van Donik almost came to a stop in that corner, so that helps. Ooh. Skirting along the edge of the track there. Flirting with disaster. I feel like this track is too tight though, man. Like, I don't understand why it's seriously like 15 feet wide. I don't think it's this tight in real life. I mean, obviously I've never been to Qatar in real life, so I can't speak to that necessarily, but this feels like it's a really tight track. It's kind of interesting. All right, got a minute and a half and then some change to go get Brian Bogers. Maybe get into a decent enough spot in this qualifying race. For those of you that are maybe on the state side here and don't know much about the MXGP series, so they have actually a couple practice sessions on Saturday, and then a qualifying race, which is what you're seeing right now, then a morning warm-up on Sunday. So this qualifying race, 20 minutes plus a lap, and then a morning warm-up on Sunday that's usually, I think, like 15-20 minutes as well. They get a lot of track time before the motos even start. The qualifying race is how you get your gate pick for the motos. And then there's obviously the 2 30-minute plus 2-lap motos. But in the USA for the Nationals, the AMA Motocross Nationals, gate pick is determined off of 2 qualifying sessions, which are about 10 to 15 minutes long, usually 15 minutes long, but sometimes it can vary if it's a tightened schedule with multiple practices. And so they get about 20 minutes on the track, sometimes 30 minutes on the track before the motos even start, and then it's just into it. Oh man, I'm going long here. Oh, thank heavens I didn't crash. Alright, gonna get Bogers here for 9th. Now can I keep it, trying to hold around the outside? Got him. Nice move. There's Kawasaki up here. Let's see if I can't go. It's a Yamaha. Not sure who that would be, but I'm going to try to go get them as well. Time is about to expire, but like I said, it should be 2 and then 1 lap to go. See what it says up there in the top left-hand corner. 3 to go, so it is a 20-minute plus 2-lap race. Get a pretty good idea of the terrain deformation in this one too, even though we still have 2 30-minute plus 2-lap motos to do. And I'm trying to use manual transmission, but it feels like it's kind of auto shifting for itself, so maybe there is some automatic in there, but I am making it shift. Like just going down in a second right there was my own doing. Oh, it's a TM, it's Samuele Bernardini, and he is hanging off the side of the motorcycle, so a little bit of a glitch there for the Italian. So it looks like the leaders actually beat the line, and we still have 3 laps to go, which means the leaders were really far out front. Covington just got his teammate Kjær Olsen, and now Kjær Olsen goes back through. Up, they're just continuing that dramatic fight for second as I'm trying to get into 8th. There we go, got Bernardini. Let's see if I can hold it. I'm all over the track here. Got around Samuele Bernardini. See if we can go make some more passes up here. Jeremy Seawer is in front of me. I'm about 4 seconds behind him. 2-lap board is now out next time by. Definitely feels like I'm kind of getting the hang of it though, because it's not taking me long to get away from Bernardini and go after Seawer here. I actually could get to a couple guys if I'm fast enough. Dang it! Ah, come on. Don't let Bernardini go. Come on, don't let him through. He's pushing the envelope there. Really wanted to get up to him. I just laid down a 1:37, so I have been improving my times, but it's probably shot myself in the foot. Now I probably won't be able to get to him before the race is over. Yeah, 5 seconds is a lot of time in 2 laps, especially with how crappy I've been riding this whole freaking time. So this turned into a pretty long-winded video. I did not expect it to go full bore with like the qualifying race and everything. Thought I could maybe just jump right into the motos, which now I know I can do. I'll just have to start from the outside gate every time, because I won't do the qualifying race, but this still gives you a pretty cool indication of the gameplay, the track deformation, graphics, which I think look pretty good. Some of the customization options at the beginning there, and then you get like a full race. Kind of make some judgments yourself here off of this video. The first look videos I do on the channel always seem to get a lot of views, so obviously this one's probably going to be one of the most viewed videos of this series, but I hope you guys would continue watching into the series as I continue my quest in the extreme career mode, going full bore, doing everything in the career mode. Ooh, sliding around the outside there. Yeah, I might just get to Mr. Jeremy Seawer here. Made up a lot of time that lap. Down to 1.5 seconds from 5 seconds, so 3.5 seconds in a lap basically. No! And then it, I cross-rutted. Look at how much time I gained on Bernardini though, and freaking just one crash, man, just shoots yourself in the foot so bad. He's just gone again. No chance. Really curious who won this race, because he's already coming over the finish line and I just got absolutely destroyed this moto. There it is, Paul Jonas. Last year's MX2 World Champion, and probably, well, maybe this year's MX2 World Champion. Is a very tight battle with him and teammate Jorge Prado. So 8th place, gonna have to settle here. It's But that was a fun race. That was actually really kind of entertaining, having to battle my way forward and not just having it easy peasy at the beginning and not a very tough difficulty. So I enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. We're going to continue on from here and go into the motos, but this has been the qualifying race, and I'll see you guys in our next video where we go into the motos. So stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.